Well, hello, Happy New Year. My name is Tim Goslin. I provide location advice to building owners and occupants, and you are listening to our first 2018 edition of Tim Talks. My guest speaker, Dan Olson, is here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the fires that have taken place both in North and Southern California, and how's that going to impact the building owners such as yourself going forward. Dan, would you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help building owners?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Dan Olson. I'm an independent property and casualty insurance broker. I work with Water Ridge Insurance Services here in San Diego. I help building owners decide on the correct coverage and help them place that coverage with various insurance companies that I work with, just to make sure that they have the best possible pricing and terms on their policy.
And then two common questions that I believe most building owners are going to ask is A, what's the pricing going to be like when their policies come up for renewal? And then B, what are the right policies and coverages they ought to have on their structures in light of all the damage that's taken place throughout California? So Dan, let's first touch on pricing. What do you see going forward in 2018 as a building owner's policy comes up for renewal?
Sure. Well, read quite a few articles by experts on this topic, just knowing that with all the catastrophes across the country, that would probably have an impact on our property rates here in California. The hurricanes in the south, all the things that have been going on throughout the country impact the rates here in California. So the general industry consensus is that there's going to be a slight market correction, hardening of the insurance market for 2018. It's going to be very slight, they say. So you're probably looking at 5 to 10% price increases. You're also going to be looking at underwriters who are going to be taking a harder look at the properties that they insure when they come up for renewal. So they're going to be looking at tenant occupancy rent rolls a little bit more thoroughly. They're going to be looking at building infrastructure updates. When was the last time the plumbing, the heating, the electrical, the roof, these types of things were updated, especially if you own an older building. So those are things that you probably want to make sure are up to date on your application, and you want to get in touch with your broker 90 days, 120 days possibly prior to your renewal date to give them enough time to approach all the different underwriters, make sure that everything's handled in a timely manner.
Yeah, and this brings up a good topic of retrofits, Title 24, fire suppression systems. These are things you're going to want to take into account as you're insuring the structure themselves. And that leads into the second question that I have. What's the right questions a building owner ought to be asking their insurance service professional?
Well, the what-if questions, I think, are really helpful when you're making your insurance purchasing decision. What if I have an earthquake? What if I have a total loss? Most of the time, buildings don't burn to the ground. But unfortunately for a lot of folks this year, we're seeing a lot of buildings burn to the ground. Santa Rosa, Ventura, even here in San Diego, buildings are burning to the ground, things that a lot of insurance policies may not be structured to handle. So you want to make sure that you're insured to value. So when insuring to value, you want to make sure that you don't take out insurance on the land. You're never buying insurance on the land. You're only insuring your structure. So you want to make sure that you have enough insurance for the structure, but you're not over-insuring. So how do you get to the point where you're not over or under-insuring your building? You probably want to consult with an expert. A restoration contractor would be a great person to talk to when you're setting your insurance limits. That way you're not dependent on your insurance broker, who may or may not be familiar with the current construction cost environment. You're not dependent on some kind of online software. You're able to get real hands-on experience when it comes to rebuilding buildings after a fire.
Well, that's a wonderful tip. And yeah, if you need help assembling the right team to give you the guidance as far as what the replacement costs would be retrofits to the building that would be needed in case of a partial structure failure, let me know. We can certainly plug you in with the right individuals. I'll leave Dan Olson's contact information at the bottom of the email. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful 2018. Take care and God bless.